The most important question, is active trading worth it? How do you answer that? That's why I'm into portfolio reporting and analytics. But let's take it a step further today and go a little bit more uncomfortable. Did I build myself a low-paying trading job? Today we're going to get into it. So active trading involves research time, constant monitoring, decision making, emotional bandwidth. So beating the market is not automatically going to be enough on its own. The excess return over the benchmark has to pay for all that extra work. My low-key personal target is quite simple. So it's just outperform the S&P 500 total return benchmark by an average of 1 percentage point per month. So what I'm doing is I'm comparing my portfolio's Canadian time-weighted return against the S&P 500 total return, like converted to Canadian as well. And I'm doing this over the exact same time periods. So over a year, there's sort of like a 12% point hurdle. So for example, if the benchmark does 10%, I would need my portfolio to do 22%. And that's just like a heuristic that I'm using as like a minimum target I would like to reach. So it's simply the difference between the two time-weighted return figures. So now let's convert that to like actual dollars and take a look at this. Let's assume that over a year, the portfolio's assets under management like hovered around 90,000 Canadian. So 12 percentage points of outperformance produces approximately $10,800 of additional like return or profits. But then like let's just assume a generous 20% tax rate on that. So that leaves approximately 8,640 after tax. But how long does that take? If it takes 5 hours per week, so that would come out to about $33 per hour after tax, which is actually pretty good. But more realistically, 10 hours per week, that brings it down to $17 an hour, which is about minimum wage where I live in Canada. And for 20 hours a week, which is honestly what I actually spend, it's like less than $8 per hour. So none of those calculations are actually charging for the additional drawdown, the risk, the stress, or the possibility of like a catastrophic failure. So even if I successfully beat the benchmark by 12 percentage points over an entire year, the active trading on a $90,000 portfolio is still just like not even an adequate job from those standards. But what if we up that portfolio to 500,000 Canadian, the same strategy, the same 12-point yearly outperformance? So the gross excess return on that would be about 60,000, but let's charge a more aggressive tax rate at 35%. So approximately $39,000 remains. So if we translate that to $5 or 5 hours per week of effort, that's around $150 per hour. At 10 hours, that's about $75 per hour. And at 20 hours a week, which is probably more realistic, it is still around $38 per hour. So about the wage of a school teacher, or maybe even a little bit more in some areas. So it's the same decisions being made, the same performance, but the economics obviously are a lot better because we've scaled up, right? And it's the same effort, but just more capital. Trading skill could exist while just trading like a $90,000 portfolio, but the compensation is quite poor for the work. So in this situation, the trading might still have like educational value, but it's not a good job. So let's look at today, and the database I'm looking at is up until August 17th. So at this point, there's outperformance of 4.19% ahead of the benchmark. And so the target of 1% per month, that would be about 3.55%. So that means the portfolio return is ahead of this minimum target of 1% per month. So that's great. But these figures are pre-tax, and my maximum drawdown has been larger during the 77 days. Going forward, I need to actually track a couple things here a little bit better. Did the portfolio clear this 1% per month minimum Canadian time-weighted return hurdle? And how many hours did it take exactly? So the more complete answer needs the taxes, the extra drawdown, the repeatability, like can this edge and this trading strategy persist in the long term? Also the stress and the emotional bandwidth it takes, and the amount of capital we're actually managing, because there might be a sweet spot that I haven't maybe hit yet. The real question is, a little bit more than can I just beat the market? It's about, can I actually build a good job that pays enough, and an investment process that can go and be repeated into the long term. So this is my own portfolio and a simple, personal experiment and thought experiment I'm just putting out there. The tax estimate, is just a guess and random. There's no tax advice, and nothing here is investment advice or a recommendation to trade or not to trade. So I hope you enjoyed. Bye.